Let's talk about continuous exterior insulation models in construction and how this particular system works in comparison to ICF. Continuous exterior insulation, we have to be clear about how that works. It goes on a stick frame building system, so this would be kind of a antiquated, common system that we're used to seeing for the last, I don't know, 100 years plus. The model that I have here is illustrating how a stick frame system would be used with sheathing. You can see the layers here, the insulation, the window and door bucks that are going to be a higher strength insulation that still maintains that thermal bridging. And then we're going to have some kind of rain screening on the outside and a furring strip to hold the siding or cladding materials onto the building. And we should really note that the thickness of this wall assembly in comparison to ICF, if you were to do this properly, it turns out to be almost the same thickness. ICF block, if you're going to use a 6-inch core on above grade walls, and then you have 5.5 inches of foam, so you're at 11.5 inches, right? If you do a wall system like this, you're typically going to have 5.5 inches for studs, 1/2 inch for sheathing, 2 inches for insulation or continuous exterior insulation, and then you're going to have a 3/4 inch furring strip on top of that, right? So you're starting to build out this pretty deep structure anyways. What I want to talk about is what it takes to actually build this. So when I was building my own house and shop, it's 8,724 square feet. I was comparing the two systems. I was looking at ICF versus continuous exterior insulation. And the reason why I was doing that is because at the time there was a lot of social media and marketing helped promote the CI industry in a way that was different than the ICF industry. And so I'd gotten bids multiple directions. One was a material bid to do it this way. The other one was a material, labor, and structural bid to do it with ICF. And so the bid came in for ICF at $188,000 complete. And the material bid that I had for this system was just over $100,000. So I thought, well, if you have $88,000 left or roughly around that, you would be able to build this and it would come in cheaper in theory, right? But what I didn't think about was all of the trips around the house and all of the extra labor that was involved. So first we had to do all of the engineer framing because I had 18-foot tall walls, so I couldn't just use 2x6s or 2x8s. I had to go to an engineered lumber. Then we had a trip around the house to do the sheathing, the 1/2 inch sheathing. I want to point out that the sheathing that I used was actually like a weather resistant type sheeting, so it was all taped as well. I used Weather Logic from LP and then taped it all. Then we put on the 2 inches of continuous exterior insulation, taped all of that. Then we put on a rain screen, all of the window and door bucks, and then the furring strip to hold the siding, because when you have CI, that extra thickness, you would have what we call nail drag or screw drag, right, if you were just to go shoot right through that. So you had to have furring strips in order to structurally tie all of this together. So all these trips around the house to put on all these different layers of product, what it turned into, oh, and one thing I didn't mention is we had to go back and stuff all of the cavities with fiberglass bat insulation as well. So all my air sealing was already done with these layers on the outside, but the fiberglass bat insulation was what got me to the thermal resistance that I needed to achieve. For all of the labor, the materials, and the trips around the house, $188,000 that I could have spent on ICF turned into $273,000 in the end. And so that was my lesson that I learned. And then after that, I went to full ICF construction. I'm comparing it to US market, right? So I mean, Canadian utilities and US utilities are different. I mean, US dollar versus Canadian dollar, obviously different. But if I was to tell you that my 8,720 square foot facility, house and shop, my highest heating bill has been $96 US dollars in January.